And we're live. Welcome to Music Matters with Jason Tramm, and thank you for joining us for a unique podcast community where we explore the triumphs and challenges of the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished artists. And thank you so much for helping us grow. We just hit 1,810 subscribers, and we grow every day thanks to people like you who watch and share our videos. Remember to to subscribe to us on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. Remember to like and share videos, and also remember to comment in the chat feature and join the conversation. Ask questions of our artists. I love it when our audience jumps in and always adds something unique to the show. So we have a wonderful artist today. We have Kingsley, who is a indie pop singer from Portland, Oregon, whose career has been going great, and she's working real hard. Her influences range from pop to R&B and everything in between. And she's opened up for such important acts like Elise Tro, VHS Collection, and S.G. Lewis. And we're delighted she can join us. Welcome, Kingsley.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Saturday.
And to you. So what's it like in Portland these days?
It's switching over, so winter is finally coming to an end, and the birds are chirping. It's sunny finally. Portland is like 9 months of no sun, rain, and so when spring comes, it's just this glorious day. Everyone's outside.
Pacific Ocean's right there. How far are you from the ocean?
About 90 minutes.
Not too
cold,
close.
Though. I don't want to be. Yeah, it's not a fun ocean.
Yeah, that ocean never gets warm, if I remember correctly. Even California, for New Yorkers like us, I mean, the ocean in New Jersey, where I go to the beach and I spend a lot of my time, it gets up to 70 in the summer, but never in California. It always stays on the cold side, doesn't it?
Yeah, 60s always.
Need the wetsuit to go in there. So did you always know you wanted to be an artist?
Yeah, it's so weird to look back and be like, I've always wanted to know. I've always had my passion. I've always known, because I have 7 siblings, and like they all do not know what they're doing in life, and I have always known what I've wanted to do in life, and have always gone towards that field. And I think just very young, singing was such a fun thing, and I loved holding CDs to my heart, and I literally would practice my Grammy speech, like how to unfold my paper so that I didn't get on stage and was like bumbling. And I don't know why at 8 I'm like, I need to practice that, but always have wanted to do music. And yeah,
gotta be prepared. Gotta envision it to achieve it. That's a good point.
Gotta be ready.
Now, you mentioned that we were just talking before the show that you grew up singing in the church and that you're coming from a family of singers. So what did you learn from being around that atmosphere?
That they sing for a long time. 2 hour, 3 hour concerts. No, I learned a lot about singing in your body, singing with feeling. I learned how to really convey emotion with the words that you string together. And I'm very thankful for all of my family in the church that have taught me, how to be in your body and give such oomph to your voice.
Yeah, for a recording artist, every note has to be expressive, right? Every note's got to be tell that story, especially for singer-songwriters. It's so important. That's like the first thing you listen to. Does the song grab you? Yeah. Who were some of your influences growing up?
So I had a very interesting childhood. My parents were really restrictive, and I mean like really restrictive. So I could either listen to gospel music or Disney Channel. And so I went hardcore into Disney because my parents wouldn't moderate what I listened to because it was Disney. So I was like a heavy Hannah Montana, Jonas Brother, like because that's all I had. And so it's so embarrassing to be like, those were my influences. But Disney back in the early 2000s really figured out how to write music and keep the melody stuck in your head and keep these short little blips that you can sing to your family as a funny joke.
And they found some really good talent, too, like the Jonas Brothers. I actually know the Jonas Brothers middle school choir director there. She's a friend of mine, and I worked with her on some projects. And I also know some friends of the Jonas Brothers, too. I got a funny Jonas Brothers story. I was conducting Handel's Messiah at Ocean Grove, where I'm the music director. It's a 6,000-seat, basically a church, but they do concerts as well. And right next door, they were shooting the Video Music Awards in Asbury Park, which is like walking distance from my house. And the Jonas Brothers were performing. They did 2 sets, and they had helicopters flying around, and they shot fireworks. And I knew that they were doing it, but I didn't realize it was the same time as my Messiah concert. So I'm conducting Handel's Messiah. All of a sudden, fireworks go off during the performance, and after it's funny stuff. We all laughed about it after the fact, but it was like, what the heck? Oh, yeah. And it turns out that one of the bass players from the band, the Gaslight Anthem, who's pretty famous in their own right, he grew up with them, was really close friends with them. So he went backstage before the show and then hung out with them afterwards. And we did a recording project together. He's like, yeah, I saw your Messiah. I was there. I parked near there. Then I walked past and I caught some of the, and I went over and saw them perform and hung out with them backstage. I'm like, cool.
What a great night you had. Like, you got to hang out with the Jonas Brothers, got to watch the Messiah. Like,
I would love to meet them. They do great music.
Yeah, yes, they do. They do.
Before they hit it big, they did a concert at the Great Auditorium, and it was it was packed. I mean, they were like, I didn't know what was going on. It was like the Beatles came to town. There were girls shrieking. It was before they made it big, and it was like, whoa, who are these guys? And they were good, but pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So Disney has certainly put out some great music over those years, and they really market it to the kids. And they a lot of these artists are still doing it, so they must have really done a good job.
That part, yeah, absolutely.
So you got gospel and Disney, and when did you start writing music?
I started writing music very young, and it was just poems, right? Words stringed together. It wasn't really necessarily songwriting form. But I got insanely good about writing in song format, verse, chorus, bridge, out. Whenever I would have a moment in life, and this is like in middle school, I could be able to write a full song through, and it has taken, you hone your craft. So now, like when I'm writing music, I can pop out a song very quickly and hear it in my head and hear the format in my head. So yeah, middle school days, but.
What comes first to you? Is it usually the lyrics or the music or the chords? Do you play the
lyrics?
Lyrics first. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Because usually it's about something that has happened in real time that I'm writing about. So it's always the first line of a song, and then I'm like, ooh, where's my pen and paper? That's really good. I need to string this out, and then I'll grab my guitar and then work through it.
Do you play keyboard or guitar? How do you find your chords?
Yeah, both. I play keyboard and guitar. Yeah, I went to college for opera vocal performance, so I can...
Oh, okay. I teach. That's my day job. I teach. I teach at a university, and I do a lot of opera and a lot of symphony, and that's really cool. That does your background in the opera and in the classical training, how does that help you when you're writing music and performing?
I am 5 years out of college now, and I think the thing that I learned most is how to sit your butt down and practice. So
discipline.
I'm very, very thankful to now I block out time to practice, and I wore my voice up every day in the shower because my teacher in college was like, girl, but you're literally in the shower, just warm your voice up. It doesn't take long.
Do you keep in touch with your college professors and tell them?
COVID, so no, I had two favorite professors. I got 2 degrees. I got a vocal performance and I got a business administration. And so my vocal teacher and my favorite business administration teacher I would talk to, they donate to my Kickstarters. They check in on me. But I think it's been like 3 COVID, Yeah.
COVID did create space for all of us, but I'm sure they'd be thrilled to see that you're out there and doing a lot of recordings. Your music's getting a lot of play. It's really exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I should. I'll put a note in my phone to contact them after this. Be like, hey, how are you?
From a professor, we love to hear from students who are out there doing music, even if it's a different type of music. I think it's pretty cool because we all know how hard it is to make a living doing music these days, but it doesn't matter the genre. I think it's pretty amazing.
It is definitely difficult.
Yes, never easy. And being an indie artist is really a challenge. This is kind of the era of the indie artist because you have unlimited, to get your music out there in the platforms. Everyone's got that. But then to make a name for yourself in that is very challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, and social media does not make it any easier. So I think it makes it easier, but harder in a sense, because now you have this thing where you can connect with anyone, literally anyone, where, you'd have to tour. And now you don't have to, but then it's saturated and it's hard to connect. And so yeah, I have a love-hate for social media. I go back and forth.
I think we all do. I think, people who do follow you, any artist, they're looking for who are these people really? A little behind the scenes, behind the music. It really is something. But then it's difficult not to be too behind the scenes, right? Because you have to have a life, you have to be yourself. So how do you balance that out?
Oh, gosh. That's a great question. Well, I set timers on my phone. So I have a 3 hour limit a day, which 3 hours sounds crazy, but that's even like creating the content, making the posts, engaging, and then my shameless scrolling. So when my timer hits, that's it for me. There's no more that needs to be done. That's it.
Discipline, name of the game, right? I mean, you could literally spend the whole day on that, just scrolling around, looking at other people, other artists, and it's. I think that's what it's designed to do, is keep you on there as long as humanly possible.
Yeah. So I have my timer, and it's for all the platforms because I do Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Yeah.
I haven't gotten to TikTok. I do the rest, but not the TikTok yet.
Oh, it's so fun. That one has a specific 1 hour timer in that app. So the rest are 3 hours and that one is 1 hour. When that timer hits, I'm like, oh, get off of this app.
Get back into the real world, right? And it's so how do you engage your audiences on those platforms? Do you perform on there? Do you like do little clips of music? Do you put full songs? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I'm Instagram heavy. I just try to be myself. I really love the stories. I love 15-second clips. I talk a lot of trash. I love trash talking. I think it's hilarious. So I'll go live a lot too, and just while I'm getting ready, just talk about my day. I do post clips of myself singing after performances. I'll go live during one of the songs while I'm performing. But I love posting photos. Like I do a lot of photo shoots and I do a lot of model work. And so I really love showing like, look at, I'm pretty. This is what I did.
Now, did you always do modeling work? Is that something you've added to as you started performing?
Added to. So like it started with like getting photos for content, right? And then you're like, you want to be creative. You can't just take a photo of you. It has to be something cooler or something people can't do, right? They want to look at your page. And so my bandmate, who's a signed model, she's like the real freaking deal. Her face is in Ulta for lashes and stuff. She was giving me tips on stuff, and she's like, why don't I just go to one of your shoots and I'll like PA for you and get you comfortable. And that just really launched my brain into like modeling and getting more creative. And I'm like, we should have glitter next time, and we should do this. And can I put beads all over my face? So shout out to Amy Evans, fantastic musician, fantastic model.
Great to have those friends, right? It's great to have the friends. That's what makes music so special, is the friends we get to make and collaborate with. And I love to see that musicians, COVID has taught us all that we can do a lot of things in addition to what we were trained to do, right? It's like all these other things, like for you, the modeling is certainly an outgrowth of that, but also I know you rep like cosmetics too, right?
I do, yeah. So that is a crazy long, fun story that basically my really amazing friend who you should have on the show, her name's Haley Johnson. She was 11th in American Idol. She plays for Big Wild now. She has toured overseas. She's incredible. Her mom worked at this makeup shop called Event Cosmetics. So oftentimes we would go in there together and they would do our makeup, and then we'd go wherever we're going, to a show or we're just hanging out or we're doing a photo shoot. And so when COVID happened, I lived right by the shop. And so I was doing my like downtown walk to get myself out of the house. And I looked in the store and Kathy was in there. So I like bang on the door and I'm like, hi, let me in. I want to talk to you. And so we start talking and I'm like, man, I have this album that is going to come out. I got funding for it. Like, this is a $10,000 album. What should I put it out? Should I wait? How long is this going to be? It's June already. This happened in March. And she was like, well, when you put your album out, I'll make a lipstick for you. And you put your album out and then you'll have a lipstick. I'm like, that's an incredible idea. Let's do that. So one lipstick turned into 3, and I ended up releasing each lipstick with a single before my album came out. And so it was insane how the snowball wrapped and hit. And I had this music where you would play it and put on the lipstick and be with me in times that we were not together. And even just learn more about my music, because this lipstick represents it. So I have 3 different colors. Like, one's this beautiful dark purple, one's this black lipstick, and then one is this shimmery one that like is a mood balancer. Do you ever wear mood rings? They change your color.
Absolutely.
This one changes color depending on your pH balance, which is insane. It's so cool. And when the album finally came out, we started going to markets. In 2011, we started going to, or 2021, we started going to markets And it was so popular, we were like, let's release 2 more products that aren't lipstick necessarily, so other people. So we got a lip scrub and we got a vitamin E stick that's clear. And now with my next project, we'll have another lipstick coming out. And it's been really, really great to get out of the music space and into another creative space that I didn't know I could do. And yeah, so Kathy of Event Cosmetics is the sole reason why this exists, and I'm very thankful.
I think that's so cool that we find other avenues of creativity and things that we didn't know we can do, because we're always growing as artists, and it's so important to keep on exploring and seeing what's possible.
Yeah, and you know you're good at music because you're doing it, but you don't know you're good at so many other things. You're good at so many other things, and it can tie in with music, and it can be just as fun as writing a song. You know, I get to go to her shop and like try on swatch colors, and I'm like, Mom, I'm working, I'm drinking bubbly, and I'm trying on lipsticks. Like, it's amazing.
Well, you know, you make your own way as an artist. That's the interesting artistic way.
Yeah.
Now, when did you record your first professional song?
2011. I was a senior in high school, and I begged my parents to get me a microphone, and I think it was called Live 8 at the time. I don't think that program they use anymore. It's a recording. They use Pro Tools now in Ableton. But it was Live 8 at the time. And so I'm begging them. And my dad's like, fine, we'll get you one. We'll do the subscription because we're not going to pay for this if you're not going to do it. And so me and my older sister, we go downstairs and I'm playing the piano and I'm like, oh, that's good. Okay, let's set this up. We go upstairs and we're like, everybody don't move. We're recording. Yeah, and we make this song and I write this rap part and I'm trying to rap and it's terrible. So I asked my brother to do it. And it's this literally Jackson 5 Lincoln affair, just hanging out.
Whole family involved. That's
making
awesome.
Music. And I play it for my parents and my dad's like, that's pretty cool. We'll see if your uncle wants to mix it for you. So I got it mixed, I got it mastered, and my mom did the artwork cover and I was like, I want to put this out. And so we put it out on Spotify and like, well, actually iTunes, because Spotify wasn't a thing yet. And SoundCloud, you know, and on MySpace. And it was really incredible. And my mom was like, well, if you're serious about this, you should go to school for it. And I was like, no, I'm going to move to LA. As soon as I turn 18, I'm going to go to LA. And my mom's like, you're going to college. You're going to go to college. If you want to do music, you're going to go to college. So I went to college. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. You had your fundamentals. That's awesome. And you did eventually move out west. Not quite LA, but you went to you were saying you went to the folk capital, the indie folk capital. But
I fly into LA and then I fly back to Portland because there's no sales tax here, and I just really appreciate that.
It's a short flight too.
Yeah.
So when you go, do you record in LA? Do you primarily record there? Do you record at home? Where do you record these days?
Yeah, so my last album that I did, I had the honor of recording at Sunset Dig Studio, which is this local guy here in Portland whose studio literally overlooks Mount Hood. It's the most beautiful space I've ever got to record in. But my music is created by other DJs. I send them the demo, I send them all the things, and they take care of it.
So it's a collaborative process. Do you write songs by yourself, or do you work with co-collaborators?
Usually by myself, and if I get stumped, I will invite someone in. And usually the songwriting goes, this is what I wrote. I don't like this, but I want to say this exactly. So fix that, but I want to say this. And they're like, okay. So on my last album, I think I had three co-writers.
Wow. And how many albums do you have to date?
Two albums, 2 EPs. Yeah.
Now, today's marketplace is such a singles-driven market. Wouldn't you say that it's like, why do artists still put out albums? Because for someone like myself, an album would be like either the vinyls come back with like a tape or a vinyl, but today it's so much single-dominated.
I think you put out an album because at the end of the day, you're making art for yourself, right? When you live in the singles world, you're playing the music industry game. So deciding what you want to do, when I put out my Crying on Holidays album, that was a relationship that I was writing through and going through. So it had to be an album. It couldn't have been expressed in 3 singles. I had a lot to say about that person.
Well said. Well, it's as an artist, I love when there's like some continuity between songs on an album. It really makes it special. It's like it just gives it more depth and meaning over the whole experience.
Yeah, Adele did a really good job when she took out the shuffle on her last album on Spotify. You're not allowed to shuffle it. She wrote those songs and put them in an order. So I think that's albums are incredible listening from start to finish.
Are you working on another album at this very moment?
No, I'm working on an EP right now, 6 songs. I have 4 done and demoed out, but I don't think I'll do an album for a minute because they take a lot of work. And
I would imagine.
So yeah, I'm going to do 2023. There's a 6-track EP project coming.
2023. It's exciting. We'll look for that. Make sure you check that out. We're on with Kingsley, an indie pop singer and R&B artist and recording artist. And I love the whole studio process. Like often when I interview artists, they'll write their song, they'll bring it in the studio, then it changes when you work with a producer and other instrumentalists. Do you find that the case when your music comes into the studio?
That's such an interesting question, and I wonder what is driven behind people saying changing, because I know oftentimes when I would work with random male producers, they would try to influence my things and I'd be like, no, that's not really what I wanted. And I think it doesn't really change anymore because I've found people that really understand and hone what I'm trying to accomplish and will give me ideas, but won't really push the song to be different of what I had. So when I get into the studio, I think the only thing that really changes is my emotions behind it, because usually I wrote the song a year and I'm recording it a year later. And so trying to produce something that is very authentic, that isn't really rooted in the pain that I was writing the song in, changes. But everything else, I'm like, no, this is what I want, so it's going to stay like this.
I'm glad to hear that you've got that you've already got the artistic inspiration, and sometimes it's set. This is exactly what I want. Often people will say, have the drum beat a little bit like this, or change it around a little bit like this. And sometimes those little changes can be quite shocking when it's like, from going from the conception to the product can be quite different.
Yeah, I think I hear the song in my head when I'm writing it, everything, right? And I went to school for music. Like we had to do so many things that were not just vocals. So when I really conceptualize what writing a song is and all of these intricate parts, and even my mixing process is so different that I'm next to the sound engineer and I'm like literally next to his ear hearing all the things. I'm like very involved in that because it's in my head. I just can't mix, I have to hire someone to mix for me.
It's an art form. I always say it's like alchemy, isn't it? It's like I've done a lot of recordings as a conductor, but I know what sounds good, but I don't know how they do it. And I'm always amazed. I'm watching them work and where they place the mics, and I'm like, I still don't get it, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You're like, I want it to sound good, so you do you. And
yeah, that's why you hire the best, and let them do their job.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So the topics of your pieces, you said they're very personal. Does social commentary come into your work, in your art?
Me making jokes? Wait, say the question again. Social commentary?
Like social commentary, current events. How does that filter into your work?
I was like, I make jokes on stage. I think I'm pretty funny. I have written just for myself and what was exactly happening. But this new project, I've always written about a partner, and it's always been heartbreak. And I'm kind of over writing music about things that I shouldn't give energy to. And so my next chapter, I'm writing these like very fun, very sexy and sultry songs, but that is not happening in my life. So it's been really fun to like project or put energy towards music. And it was specifically, I got that idea from Dua Lipa, who her Future Nostalgic album, she was like, I wasn't in love, but I was like writing these songs in hope to be. And I'm like, how dope is that? We always sit as artists and we're pouring our hearts, or we're in love and we're, but like, what if you write something about something that doesn't happen?
That's I like weird. That projection idea. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's like you practicing your speech in advance. You put it out there at the universe and it'll come around.
So, yeah.
And keep working towards. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that obviously the heartbreak part of our lives, it inspires us all, and lets us dig deep. And that universal human emotion, everybody understands that. So what's it like to you when you see that your music's played all over the place? I was on one of your songs that's 35,000 listens, and I assume it's from all over the world. Do you get comments back from people all over? What's it like to read those comments?
It is very heartwarming to know. So Spotify does their like Wrapped, where they'll show you the number one song, and so when people do that, they'll like tag the people, and it was so interesting seeing what my number one song. I would like click on their profile and be like, "Who are you? This is really cool. And why was this your number one song? Because this song is a sad one. Are you okay?" But it is so heartwarming to just know that though we are very different in physicality, emotion is so similar. Frequencies are so similar. And that's something that we can always connect with.
Universal human emotions. I tell that story all the time. It's like we all feel love, we all feel loss, and even people from anywhere in the world can identify with that. And I think pop music is one of the great unifiers. People across cultures love pop music.
Yeah, I'm a big pop fan. I think it's incredible. I think it's so cool that you can tell a story in just 2 minutes and 30 seconds of time, and everyone's like, "Yeah, that's happened to me."
How has your songwriting process evolved since you started? You've been doing it a long time. How have you changed as an artist? How have you embraced new ideas? How does your music change?
I don't really write for other people anymore. I think when I was writing at early stages, it was kind of like, is this going to be okay? Or will my parents be mad if I say this? Or could I say this in front of Now I just don't really care. I'm like, if this is what I thought and this is what I felt, this is what's going on the pen and paper. And anyone else, like, whatever, it's my art. So that has really changed. I've grown to be braver in my words and have more conviction in my feelings. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I love that. It's really powerful. You be sure of yourself and take that stage. It's a very brave thing to do for anybody. And tell me the difference between now. Live performance has been a very important part of your career, and so has the studio. How do you balance those two?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love being on stage. I think it's incredible. It's like instant gratification. And when COVID happened, no gratification,
Absolutely.
Singing on the phone is just, it's not the same. It misses energy. I had to really teach myself to be in love with all processes of music and find gratitude in each moment. So like, I'm not always going to be in the studio, but I love the studio. I'm not always going to be on stage, and I'm not always going to be writing music. And so when I do get to do those, I cherish the moments a little bit stronger and a little bit better. And yeah, in between those, I teach myself to find gratitude in whatever I'm doing at that moment.
So important to find gratitude, and being a musician, there's so many facets to that music career that, and they all have their process, they all have their challenges and their rewards, and but nothing like feeling the live audience's energy.
Yeah, it warms my heart. And if I'm ever having a sad day, I just close my eyes and hold my heart, and I just picture one of those, moments where you're just like, oh, this is amazing, this is happening.
So tell us about some of the special places you've played. Now, do you perform with a band? Do you have a steady band of musicians you perform with?
Yeah. So Portland is very folk. So oftentimes I have to do my strip down set, which is great. My music translated. It was originally written on guitar. It just got to be produced. So usually if it's like a stripped down set, I just played at this amazing venue called Mississippi Studios, opening up for Dante Elefante. And we do 3-part harmony and guitar, and that's like our bass, our smallest set. And then the biggest set, I have a DJ and I have electric guitar and my 2 backup vocalists. So it just depends. Honestly, it just depends on how much I'm getting paid. That's how many people can come with me.
That's the magic word. I'm all fast to book an orchestra, whether it's 30 to 60 players, depends on the price tag.
Everybody comes.
Musicians have to get paid, right? That's the very important thing.
Yes.
And when you tour with a DJ, do you include rap elements in your music too?
Oh no, it's just backing tracks.
Tracks.
Yeah, they'll spin before me, and then backing tracks. Yeah.
We see today's pop music includes elements from so many different genres. So I'm always curious to see which genres kind of fit and match with each artist kind of. And you see a lot of pop artists, exploring different areas and different avenues, and collaborating with many different types of performers.
Yeah. I think that's the coolest part about pop music, because it's such a late genre. It's the latest of genres. that there really are no rules anymore, because it was created from all different genres, to make this one thing popular music. So yeah.
From the Latin to the rap to the, singer songwriter to country. I'm seeing more. You're seeing just the kind of melding of all these styles, and it's very fascinating to see how they come together.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
What type of artists have you collaborated with on the stage?
Well, Haley Johnson was like one of my favorite collaborations because she's my best friend. But just she's a indie rock folk artist, so she's taught me a lot about pushing my envelopes. I get very comfortable. I have a very low voice. I really love it. I love being here. And collaborating with her, we were not arguing, but we were trying to pick a chorus that fit for both of us, and she sings really high and I do not. And so she's like pushing me upwards and I'm like, I don't want to sing that high. And that was probably one of my favorite collaborations. We wrote it the way that she said. It's all me. It's the song that has like the most streams. So thank God she was like, sing higher. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite collaborations.
And that's All Me is on your Spotify. I'm looking at it right now, and it's make sure you check out this artist's wonderful work on Spotify, also on YouTube as well. And are you on all the platforms these days?
I am, yeah. What's funny, All Me, we shot the music video, so you should watch it. I actually dress up as Nick Jonas in the music video, so definitely watch that. It's pretty hilarious.
So tell us about the process for indie artists making videos these days. In the past, it was videos can be $1 million budgets. No one's got that. So, but I'm seeing incredible work out there. So people are doing great work on budgets, and they're being very creative. And how are you doing your videos?
Yeah, so for my 3 singles, I did 3 music videos with them before my album came out, and I had just the honor and privilege of working with a all-Black female team, which in Portland is a diamond in the rough. I was talking to one person and I was like, I do such great work on my social media of teaching people of all of these local places that are people of color, that are women owned, and I don't work with any of them. Like, this feels so satire to me. And so when I was working on these music videos for my first one, I was like, I really want to show what it's like when you break up with a guy and you're at the sleepover party with your friends. Like, I want to show that where you're dancing and you're laughing and you're getting ready to go out. But I want it to be with all Black people, and I want them to have all different body types and all different shapes. And it was amazing. Ash, my friend Ash, who is an amputee, she joined us. My friend Charles, who's in the LGBT, joined us. It was my best friend got to be in the music video, and it was just this incredible time that came just from me being like, I just want to work with more Black people. How do I do that? And then I got this project. So after we finished that project, the director, Cameron, who owns Cryptic Films, she said, why don't we do 3? We'll do 2 more music videos. We'll do a trilogy with you. And I'm like, you want to keep working with me? That was $1,000 budget. Like, let's go. And so we did 2 more projects together, and it was really just sitting on Zooms with her and just being like, what's the craziest idea we can think of? And then where can we find it in the budget that we want?
I always say when there's not massive budget, there has to be massive talent.
Yes.
To make up for it.
I love that. Well, I got to work with Cryptic Films, Riley and Cameron, 10 out of 10. If you're ever in Portland and want to work with some amazing women that just, even that, like, I had a camera woman, which never happened. Sika, like, the camera operator was a Black woman. It was just incredible. I'm like, this is so dope.
It's great to build your own teams, right? To make your teams work, and to put together something you're proud of like that. That must have been quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it was really great. So 3 music videos from my last album are on YouTube.
Wow. How long did it take to direct them? Did you come up with a concept for those?
So the first and the last, yes. The middle one, Therapy, was totally Cameron's idea. I just ran with it, and she basically was like, I want to make it artsy. Like, your music videos are such concept, but like, what if we do this artsy one where you're frolicking in the forest? And I'm like, okay, what if I was wearing a princess dress? Like, what if it was about the subconscious mind of, like, the song is called Therapy and it's blaming another person for therapy, but like, what if you're the reason for all your problems? And we're like spinning with all of these ideas and ended up with an incredible thinking artsy music video called Therapy.
Cool. So we have all these different ideas, and I can't wait to check these out. Make sure. What's your YouTube channel? If you can plug that for us.
It's Kingsley Music. Yeah, YouTube.com/Kingsley Music.
Gotcha. Well, make sure you check those out. Proudly putting together teams that represent, I think that's so powerful to find that the representation is so important in today's music industry, and it's really important that people promote.
Yeah, you can't just talk it, you gotta walk it. So.
Well, shout out. That's fantastic. So now, what live performances do you have coming up?
So I just announced this yesterday, but I am going to be, this is how, I went to college for marketing. So when I first made my project, I Am Because I Am, my 2019, my first album, because I was a nobody, I was like, man, I just put out this project and I don't want to start a new project. Like, I want to give this project life. So I ended up remixing the songs and putting it on an EP called I Am Because I Dance, which I got to play it at a show where I opened up for H.G. Lewis. And then I was like, I still don't want to be done with these songs because I'm still new and I don't want to write more music yet. And so I took the same songs and I stripped them down to acoustic and I made a project called I Am Because I Feel. And so I am going to forever do that with my life. I will always have an album that from that album 2 EPs will come. So this April 21st, I am going to take my project Crying on Holidays. It's going to be recorded with a live audience, acoustic, and I'll put that out. And then I'm working on another one where it'll be the DJ version and I'll put that out so that I can keep pushing out my music and not have to make new music. So
you release on both platforms. Does that go on the dance lists?
Yeah, so that's the really dope part, that I've gotten my songs on so many different playlists because there's the folk version of it, the pop version of it, and the EDM version of it.
Wow. That's maximizing one song. Your marketing is paying off, all those classes. I've had a few artists who've got number ones on the dance charts, even though they wrote it for another platform. I just think that's fascinating where a song can have a life of its own that way.
Yeah, it's incredible. And also just like the genres are such a mesh that you really can land on any genre as long as you have a little bit of an element of it in there, just a little bit.
It's amazing. What would you tell young people coming up today, young singer-songwriters, people who are pop people, what would you tell them? What advice would you have for someone just starting out?
Don't be too proud. Get vocal lessons. Google marketing. Don't be too proud. You don't know everything, and that is okay. Yeah, I think I would have told my younger self that as well. It's have vocal lessons. Beyonce takes vocal lessons.
That's why she's still singing. You're right. I tell my students that's why people get into vocal trouble. They have to know technique. It's doesn't matter the style. It's how to breathe. Breathing is so important.
Yeah.
That's very good. Don't be too proud. The music can be a humbling business, but you get to be your own boss. You get to kind of chart your own course, and nothing's more exciting.
And you're doing something that people dream to do. And I think that that's something sometimes you get a little stifled that the music industry I'm not getting opportunities, or you're putting yourself out there every day, and people dream to do that. So don't forget that.
We have a question from the audience. It's from Ashley in Manhattan, who asks, if you could sing a duet with 3 artists, who would they be?
Oh, do they have to be alive?
That's totally your call.
Amy Winehouse would be probably my first one. Probably the Jonas Brothers, so that my 6th grade heart can just live. And I think my last one would be probably with a rapper so that I can learn how to rap. It's been on I would love to do it. I cannot. Any person that's like J. Cole would be really cool to do.
Who's your favorite rapper?
Oh, No Name is my favorite rapper. She is from Chicago. She is incredible. I saw her at Lollapalooza. I cried. I was like, stop crying and watch the show. So good. No Name. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us today. Where can people go to find out more about you and your music?
Yeah, if you want to laugh, follow me on TikTok. If you want to look at my beautiful photos, follow me on Instagram. And if you want to talk mess, follow me on Twitter. I talk a lot of trash on Twitter.
What are some of the topics you talk trash about?
Mainly just what's happening with my day. It's just off the cuff, and I'm like, should I tweet this? Yeah, why not? Who cares? Who cares?
People
I
love that on
retweet
Twitter.
a lot of funny stuff. Like I will retweet and add my own thing to it, and I think people are just like shock factor. Like I can't believe she just said that. Whatever. Who cares?
Well, you're an honest person. You're an honest performer, and it's been great to get to know you. I look forward and wish you complete success as you go on your career, and I can't wait to see you live one of these days.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate the conversation. This was great. Great questions. I was stumped a few times. But
Continued success. We'll be in touch.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, keep music alive.